Okay, so yesterday I had talked about object-oriented programming. Today we will learn about interfaces, right? And um, let's start. Okay, I'll create a new Java project known as day 3. All right, so now we saw that we could create the objects, how to basically launch the different driver classes, but when you launch a driver, when you launch a browser, you need to interact with it as well. So how do I write a single piece of code which works on all the browsers? That is the question. Okay, like I'll create a new class known as say dynamic browsers. So I want to write a single piece of code which is going to work on all the browsers. Okay, that's what I want to do. All right, like I have a variable over here known as browser. I initialize it to the value Chrome. Fine. So I want that whatever script I'm writing should be executed on Chrome. Tomorrow, if I change it to Mozilla, then the same script without being changed should be executed on Mozilla. Right. And later on, we can also read the value of the browser from an external file like Excel file or JSON or properties file. We can also do that. All right. So let's see how we can do this. OK, well, if we write over here that if the browser is equal to, you can put an if else statement. That's the basic answer to this. OK, but will if else help us? OK, if I write if the browser is Mozilla, then you forward and you know write the code for Mozilla, that is this particular code to initialize your Firefox driver. OK, I'll have to add the jar files. Hold on. Fine. And after this, you can write else if the browser is equal to Chrome, then you will have to initialize your Chrome browser. And similarly, else if it is Edge, right? In that case, you will have to initialize your Edge browser. Okay, and you go to the website yahoo.com. Okay, now will this thing work? After going to yahoo.com, if I have to click on a link in Mozilla, I will have to write the code to click on the link in Mozilla over here. Then on Chrome, if I want to click, then I will have to write the code to click on Chrome over here. On the Edge, I will have to write the code to click on Edge. So it doesn't make sense. Okay, right. So how do you write a dynamic script? Because eventually, if you are putting if else as well, you are writing separate piece of code for every browser. To write that, you need to understand the concept of interface in Java. Now, what is an interface? Interface is something which gives you an idea about the system, that what the system is all about. For example, you have Eclipse. This Eclipse is like an interface to you, which helps you to write the Java language code. But what is actually what actually it is doing behind the scenes, you are not knowing. Okay, like you go to a restaurant and you order food from the a la carte menu, right? So that menu is like an interface to you. Okay, it will tell you that what is being offered, but how the food will be, how will it be prepared, you really don't know. Okay, so interface is something which gives you an idea, right? So, and similarly, in Java, we have interface. Okay, now I will make an interface known as, say, school. So this is the interface school. Now in the interface, you just define your methods, that suppose what a school is supposed to do, right? For example, void teach. Okay, you have got functions in interfaces which are just declared. Okay, right. So these are the functions of a school, basic two functions in a particular school. So just by looking at this, right? So just by looking at these functions, you can come to know that fine, okay, this happens at a school, right? So, but you really are not sure that how these will be implemented. Okay, you really don't know, or you are not really sure that how these functions for the interface school will be implemented. Okay, so in order to work with the interface, you need to implement the functions of the interface. Okay, in order to work with this interface, you need to implement the functions. So what we do is that we make implementing classes. For example, I'll make a class known as, say, city school. So this class city school is blank and it has to acquire all the features from the school class or implement. So what we do is that we write over here this class implements school. So if a class is implementing an interface, then it is mandatory for that class to implement all the features of the interface. Okay, right. So over here you have got three functions. You move the mouse over the error, you will get the option add unimplemented methods. You click on this, all the three methods of the interface will come up in this particular class. All right. And these methods, these have the at the rate override sign. This basically means that this is known as an annotation. And this basically means that this function is coming from this particular interface. Teach, train teachers, and lunch break. Fine. So once you implement this interface, okay, then You implement all the functions in the interface, and now you can write over here school teaching and city school training teachers. Okay, and city school lunch break. So you have got simple three functions which are coming from the interface into the class. Okay, now you create another class known as say town school. So this class also implements the interface. Okay, this class also implements the interface school. Right, so you have to add the unimplemented methods over here as well. And you can write over here town school teaching. Okay, and similarly, town school training teachers, and then town school lunch break. So what I did practically was that I made one interface. Okay, this had a few functions like X, Y, Z, and two classes went and implemented this particular interface. Okay, so they also had to give the bodies to these three functions mandatorily. Okay, but what was the use of this thing? All right, I could have decided that fine, I am not going to have this interface. I can directly make these two classes. Right. Why did I move ahead and made the interface and the two classes? Okay. Well, the basic idea is that if I build an interface, then I give a kind of structure to the whole application. Okay, the whole application gets a structure to we know that what kind of functions will be there in the classes. If more implementing classes come tomorrow and all these classes they implement the interface, then we will know that you know what kind of functions will be there in these classes. Right. So this is what basically interfaces help us with. They give a structure to the whole application. Fine. If I make a new class known as say test school, and this class will have main function. Out here, I can create objects. I can create object of the city school class. And I can also create objects of the town school class. With city school class, you can of course refer the functions of city school like train teachers, then teach, then lunch break, and with town school class, you can call the functions of town school. The function names remain the same. The implementing classes are different. If I run this, you see that the function names are same, but the implementing classes are different. So this is one advantage of interface. There is another advantage I'll tell you in some time. Okay, it gives a structure to the whole application. Right, if you go to the official website, which we had seen yesterday, and we were seeing this interface, WebDriver. Okay, now basically WebDriver is nothing but an interface in the documentation. Okay, uh, basically WebDriver technically is an interface and it's got few functions like for example, close. This will close the browser. The get function will get you to some website. Find element function will find some element on the web page. Okay, the whole story in Selenium starts from this particular interface. And all the driver classes which we had seen yesterday, they implement this particular interface. Okay, all the driver classes like Chrome driver, Firefox, Opera, Remote, all the driver classes, they implement this particular interface. So that means the functions which are there in Firefox driver, the same function names will be there on Chrome driver. The same names will be there in Edge driver. For example, the get function is there in each of them because each of them is internally implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay, right. Now, if I write Firefox driver dot, you will also get the function say get title. So get title is there in the WebDriver interface, and from there it comes to the Firefox driver class. Like we had the interface school, which I had made, and from the school interface, you had the functions coming up from the into the classes. The same concept is there. Okay, right. Now,
Hey Ashish, just a question here.
yeah,
So when you call the FD dot get title, it will internally call the WebDriver through Firefox driver, right?
no, it's not going to call the WebDriver interface.
Uh-huh.
This method is implemented inside Firefox driver class. Like we have this city school. This class is equivalent to Firefox driver, and the teach function I've implemented in this. This
Correct.
teach function is equivalent to the get function. So somebody has made the get function out there, which is doing the work of taking the browser to the website. Okay,
Okay, then
so
where WebDriver here, like in this example, how can I
it is
correlate?
implementing the WebDriver interface.
Okay.
Like this class is implementing the school interface.
Okay.
The Firefox driver class implements the WebDriver interface.
Okay.
Okay, so that is internally it is doing that. Okay, so that is why we are able to have the same function names in all the driver classes. Okay, if you have to print the title on Chrome, the command would be chrome driver.get title. If you have to print the title on Yahoo, the command would be edge driver ed.get title.
So the class names here, the Firefox driver, the Chrome driver, and Edge driver, are the is it like can we change that or they are standard like here in this the
Um,
class names?
the class names are standard. These are internal names.
Hello?
Yeah, the class names are standard. These are internal names. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, hi Ashish.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
some
there was
network issue.
network.
Yeah, the class names are common. These are internal classes inbuilt.
Okay.
Okay, just have to create the objects of these classes. Like I have created the interface school, test school, and town school. Right. So over here, city school. So all these classes I have made. Similarly, somebody has made these classes. Somebody has made WebDriver interface. Somebody has made Chrome driver, Firefox driver, Edge driver. So you need to understand how they are made. Okay, and how you can use them.
Okay.
Okay, and now the problem remains the same, but like if I have to work on Chrome, then I'll have to continuously write the code for Chrome over here. If I have to work on Mozilla, I'll have to continuously write the code for Mozilla here. Okay, Edge code will be here. So you have to learn one more concept in interface in order to write a dynamic code. Although the function names remain the same in each driver class. Okay, but the question arises that how do I simplify my code? Okay, to navigate to Yahoo and to print the title, I had to write two pieces of lines separately for every browser. Okay, so couldn't it be that we simply maybe launch the browser in one line and rest of the lines remain same? Okay, I don't want to duplicate my code. All right. So again, the concept of interfaces, it helps us over here. All right. Out here, if I am suppose in my city school, I make one more function, public void, say e-learning. Okay, now this is a function which is in the city school, but not coming up from the school interface. Okay, so obviously in my classes over here, I can call school.elearning function over here. But this function is not there in the town school, so you cannot call it. Right. Now I'm going to create the object of the city school a little differently. Till now we had created the object something like this, the class name, object name, reference name, and then new object. Now listen to this carefully. At times people get confused here. Okay, now I'm going to call or build the object differently over here. Okay, I am going to write full, say S1 equals to new city school. So the reference is of the interface. Okay, and S1 is pointing towards the object of the city school class. So these two lines have a difference. Over here I have the school interface reference. Over here I have the reference of the city school class only. Now if these two lines are different, then what is the advantage of the second line and how it is different from the first one? Right, with S1, you can access all the functions which are in the city school coming from the school interface only. Okay, you can call the functions train teachers, each, you can call them like this. But you cannot call the function learning. This is not possible. Okay, so there is a difference between this and this. When you create the object like this, you can only call the functions which are there in the class coming up from the interface. You cannot call the proprietary functions of the class. Okay, if you run this, you see these three lines are being printed by these three. So what is the advantage of creating the object like this when you can only access the functions in the class which come up from the interface? Right. The advantage is that you um, hold on. Right. Advantage is I can also create the object S2 equals to new, say town school, and I can call the functions of town school like teach function. Okay, let me put some demarcating line. So obviously this is going to print town school teaching because S2 with S2 you can access the functions in town school coming from the school interface. But now based on my wish in the next line, I can make S2 point towards city school object. And again, I can fire the command s2.teach. Okay, so when you run this, see that? Fine. So commands are same s2.teach, s2.teach, but over here S2 was pointing towards town school. So it printed town school teaching, then S2 was pointing towards city school. So it's printing city school teaching. Right. I hope you have understood my point. Okay. Now,
Ashish, I have a question. So, how that will make a difference if we create the object of interface or we create the objects of the implementing classes?
you
Means how?
cannot create the object of interface. I
But he,
cannot write new school. This is not possible. I am creating object of the class which is implementing the interface. The reference is of the type interface over here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is out here. I was creating the object of city school, but the reference was of the type city school only. So over here, I changed the reference to school interface. Now this reference can dynamically point. I can point S2 to town school as well as city school. It's my choice. This is the advantage which I get. I can write over here school S3 equals to null, which means that this S3 is not pointing anywhere. Based on my choice, I can make S3 point towards new city school, or I can make S3 point towards new town school. My choice. Okay.
Yeah. So my question is in those lines we are creating the like reference of the interface, and on the beginning of this class, like can you scroll it up please? We created the reference of the implementing classes itself. Like when we are doing
Yeah.
programming, how that will make a difference? When means how we are going to think, like when we have to create the object of the implementing classes, or when we have to means this first line and the last line that you have created, how that will make a difference programmatically?
Yeah, we in Selenium we prefer not to use this.
Hmm.
Okay, because till now we have been creating objects in Selenium, something like this. We had created objects like Firefox driver equals to new Firefox driver, or Chrome driver equals to new Chrome driver. You can create it, that's not a problem, but then you will be limited to different references for each browser. Okay, now we know that each of the browser classes, it implements the WebDriver interface. Okay, so you can, instead of creating objects like this, you can create objects with the reference of WebDriver interface. Okay, right. So this is how you do it.
And the second one is preferred over first one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, because if I write, for example, WebDriver driver equals to null, then it's my choice. I can make driver point towards Firefox driver. I can make driver point towards Chrome driver, or I can also make it point towards Edge driver. This is my choice. Okay, so this is quite good because one reference I can point towards any driver.
Okay.
So that is what we will use out here. Instead of creating the objects like this, we won't create the objects like this. We will be using WebDriver interface. Okay, we will equate it to null. And based on my choice, I will point driver to Firefox driver, or Chrome driver or the Edge driver. So this is what is the important thing. Now my browser can launch dynamically. So when I will reach complete all these if else statements, I will reach here. My browser will be ready. If I just run this code, then you will see that Mozilla browser will launch. If I close this and change the browser to just Chrome over here, so you will see that Chrome will launch and similarly Edge will launch. So you can also read this browser from say Excel file or a property file dynamically and launch the browser. Right. And once the browser is ready, the functions are same. In all the three driver classes, the functions are same. I can use driver.get yahoo.com. So I just need to write this once. And when I go to yahoo.com, you can also write a driver.get title. So this is going to print the title of the page. And when you run this, right. So you get this. And the same piece of code will also work on Mozilla. If I run Mozilla, right, same piece of code works here as well, but that's good. So I closed the browser early. That's my mistake. Okay. So this is how it works. Anyone with any
I,
questions?
yeah, yeah, Ashish, I have one. So
Yes.
in this case, you have written initialize by writing the uh, interface name, right? The driver. But let's say Firefox driver has one extra function. Now I want to use that method.
I
So how?
agree. I understood your point. What if there are some few functions proprietary? There are none. We don't use any of them. Everything is coming from the WebDriver interface only. Okay, there are none. You'll realize it with time. Everything comes from this interface. Okay, if I had some like I got your point. You're saying that fine. If I have this, say a class like we had city school in which I had this proprietary function which could only be accessed when I was test school. Where is it? Test school. Yeah. So when I was creating the object of the city school, I was able to use the object e-learning, right? And this thing I cannot do in case there are some proprietary functions, Firefox, Chrome. I cannot use them, but there are none. Okay, there are not any proprietary functions like that. Okay, so you don't have to, literally worry about that. Fine. And so this interface is really important. This whole thing will be used. This whole thing will be used till the end. Okay, till in the frameworks also we are going to use these. And when we have to run the code on Selenium Grid, which is to run the test cases parallelly, we use remote WebDriver class. In that case, we don't use Firefox driver or Chrome driver. We look at these other classes as well. But whatever I have taught you right now, okay, this thing will be used till the end, till the last day. Okay, and every time you launch the browser, you launch it dynamically. Fine. Now, once you have launched the browser, you have gone to the website. Now, on the website, you have to, interact with the elements on the web page. Right. Say I have to click on some link, or I have to search something, or I have to, you know, uh, click on the links in the top menu. Okay. So how do you manage that? Okay. How do you manage the interaction of the web page? For that, you have to understand the concept of page source first. Okay. If you go to, sorry, if you go to um, any website, right? If you go to say qtpselenium.com only, and if you go to the page source, right click and you'll see the page source option. It is there in every web page. Okay. You will realize that there is a, you'll see some code. This is the HTML code, and Selenium works on this HTML code only. Okay, this HTML code is nothing but a combination of certain tags and attributes. For example, there is a tag known as div over here, whose one attribute is the class attribute. Okay, the class attribute has got this value. The tag name always starts with a conical bracket. Always, all the things which are starting from conical brackets are the tag names. And along the tag names, you can have attributes. Like over here, we have the class attribute. One tag can have one or more than one attributes as well. For example, if you go to this website, zoho.com, and on zoho.com, if you look at the sign in link, right, if you investigate this link, this is an input tag. Okay. And this is the password field. This is again an input tag. So the tag name can contain many attributes like we have type, autofocus, name, class, tab index, ID. So with the help of these tag names and the attributes, we identify the elements. Okay, you can right click on the text field. You will get the option to inspect. Rather, when you right click on any element, you get the option to inspect the element. Okay, you inspect it, right? This is the small arrow. You can click on it and you can move the mouse. You can inspect the page source of any element. Fine. For example, this is the sign up button. You click on it and you will be able to inspect the element. So the tag name and the combination of the attributes which it is having helps us to find the element on the web page. Okay, so Selenium just works on the page source. And the page source remains same across all the browsers. Even on Mozilla, if I go to zoho.com and I say try to inspect this username field, So you can Mozilla also you have the inspect option, you have this arrow, you can click on it, move the element. So you have this. Right, so this is the tag name input. It's got an attribute ID, attribute class, attribute placeholder. So with the help of these tags and attributes, we identify the elements on the web page. So the next thing, once we have opened the browser dynamically, is that we have to go to the website and interact with the elements on the website. And that's what we are going to do next. We are going to interact with the web page. Okay. Um, I'll do that in the next class, okay? And because I need time for it and it really doesn't make sense to start that right now. Okay, I had to give you exercises as well, but it's in my other laptop. I'll give it to you in the next class. I'll give you exercises on some Java object-oriented programming and all. Okay, or just a minute, be online. I'll stop the recording. Just give me 1 minute.